Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. It's a beautiful summer day here in Brussels, Belgium, so certain houseplants like this Moon Valley plant are so excited that they are starting to flower indoors. And also outside, some plants are showing off their very best flowers. So today I want to talk to you about one of my favorite houseplants that is also flowering at the moment. And it's a houseplant that you can keep indoors but also outdoors when it's not freezing. And it's this guy right here, the Ledebouria socialis. A cheap but incredibly interesting houseplant. So I'm featuring it in the leading role of the second episode of Ultra Cheap Houseplants. So let's have a closer look together. Now, in the course of this video you will see that I have many specimens of the Ledebouria. It all started with this cluster of plants here from the clearing section. It cost me almost 13 euros, but I separated it into 6 different plants, which means 2 euros per plant. And on top of that I also bought a few baby plants for more or less 3 euros a piece. For some mysterious reason, this is the houseplant with the most different names, and I'm just mentioning a few. It's called Ledebouria socialis, but also violet squill, silver squill, wood hyacinth, and it's indeed related to hyacinths, by the way. Other names are Bluebell, Leopard lily, South African Scilla, or Scilla socialis, which was its first name back in 1870 when it was first officially described, and it's native from South Africa. This is clearly a bulbous plant. It has a caudex, which you can see here, and just look at that beautiful purple glow. And in its caudex it can store water for drier times. And this plant is also considered to be a succulent plant. Now, the leaves stay on the plant when it goes dormant in wintertime, and they are olive green and spotted. They're also quite thick but at the same time very fragile, while the bottom part of the leaf has a beautiful purple color. One possible way of propagating this plant is by division, so let's do some math for each container. Container 1 originally had 2 big plants and made 5 babies. Container 2 has 2 old plants and made only 2 babies. Container 3 has 2 old plants and 3 babies. In container number 4 we can see 3 old plants but also 5 new babies. So the conclusion here is that this plant multiplies like rabbits do, since the 9 older plants produced no less than 15 baby plants so far that you can propagate. Now, if you are a little bit more adventurous, you can try collecting the seeds when the plant is flowering, as I'm trying to do right here, and then plant them in some humid soil, give them some good light, and then see what happens after a couple of weeks. Now, I have tried this with other houseplants like this fireflash spider plant, and the seeds miraculously turned into these 6 beautiful baby plants. The word socialis in the name of the plant means sociable, and these guys indeed love to grow together to form big colonies. When these plants are happy, they will flower, and each long green stem will have a cluster of very small white, green, purplish flowers. And even though the flowers might not be the most pretty feature of the plant, it's always rewarding to see your houseplant produce flowers. And sometimes one single plant might produce multiple stems with these very small flowers. Now let's talk light requirements for these plants. This sad baby here only gets indirect late afternoon light, and it is definitely not happy about that. The stem is very thin and the leaves are not spotted. Now this one here I keep outside and it gets a couple of hours of direct sunlight. And when I put them next to each other, you can clearly see the difference between the indoor and outdoor one. And the outdoor one is even already producing some small bulbs. Okay, my third baby plant I keep inside, but it gets a couple of hours of direct sunlight in the afternoon. So my conclusion is that these guys are best kept outside, at least during the spring and summer, and they can be touched by direct sunlight. So that's also the reason why I'm keeping my 5 big containers outside in the full sun. They are growing like crazy, they have beautifully spotted leaves, the stems are very thick, they produce many baby plants and bulbs, and they all flower. So I'm basically treating them the same way I treat my other succulents, which means that I put them outside in spring and summer and I put them back inside in winter time. And there is more good news for plant lovers with limited space, since the Ledebouria stays quite compact with a maximum height from 6 to more or less 10 inches. Okay, now when it comes to the best substrate to grow these guys in, I found out that they are not fussy at all as long as the substrate is well draining, because they are prone to root rot. So I let the soil completely dry out before I water these guys again, since they can store water in their stem. And by the way, beware if you have pets, because these guys are highly toxic. So my final verdict is that the Ledebouria socialis is indeed an ultra cheap houseplant. And if you buy just one and keep it happy, you will be set for life, because it will give you many baby plants to propagate. It's also a very low maintenance plant that almost thrives on neglect. And it's also an unusual houseplant, something else than your average ficus or dracaena, so it's also a perfect conversation starter. Okay, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider liking it and or subscribing to my channel. For now, I wish you a very nice day and I hope to see you back real soon on my channel. Bye bye.